So now that we've gone through most of the things that we're going to need to actually create our sites, from the menus, creating pages, posts, and we will go a little bit further into posts, how you can create engaging posts, that will actually get read well on Google. However, now let's just go through site optimizing. How can you optimize this with your images and your files so you don't end up having a very large site which takes ages to load up? And we're going to do this primarily with the use of some plugins. So let's go to our plugins section, and the first one that I'm going to use is one called Smush. Now, this is an image optimization plugin, and you can actually do this manually. If you want to do it manually, you can use something like the imagecompressor.com. You can manually put your images in here, you can upload them, and you can change the size of them by changing the colors, taking colors off, and it will also optimize it automatically to a certain percent. You can then download your files, then upload them that way. However, I'm going to be using Smush just because it's free. It does it automatically for you, and it's really good for that. What it's going to do, it's going to lazy load images, so rather than loading all your images up as somebody loads into your web page, it's going to load them up as they scroll down and actually look at them. Not only that, it's going to automatically, and we're going to go to install now and then activate, and it's going to automatically smush all your images down as soon as you upload them. So let's say you upload one which is like 1.9 megabyte, it might take 50% off of that, and all of this will help in the long term with your site, especially if you're going to be uploading quite a few photos or media, because too much media will unfortunately create a larger site which will then take longer to load up. So with Smush activated, we can also go to the settings, so we can choose whether we want this to automatically do this. You can just go through the setup here, so if we begin setup, you can choose whether to automatically optimize new uploads, so anything you upload from now it will automatically do. So I do suggest having that, unless you've got a site where you need some really good quality pictures, so you want to check yourself, because you can do it manually otherwise. You can choose whether you want it to strip your image meta database. Now it will keep any SEO information on there, however it will strip it of any other unnecessary files to reduce the size. Lazy load, like I explained earlier, is just going to be when people go onto your web page, without a lazy load it will load up all the images, which might take longer for the actual whole page to load. However, by loading them up bit by bit, so what the viewer's actually seeing at that particular time, it will then load up quicker. Data tracking's up to you. I'm going to leave this as off. This is just for the plugin itself, just to be able to get some data for them to use. And as you can see, the way to actually do it manually, it will tell you that we have 5 unoptimized files here, so we can simply go to bulk smush, and this will work for 50 at a time. This doesn't mean that it will only do a maximum of 50 images. This means that it will do 50 images, it will then stop, you then have to restart it to do the next 50 images. However, you're going to find the size of your site isn't going to increase as much. If you're using stuff like forums or anything else which also uploads images, and other users can upload images, it will auto smush them also, meaning that any images uploaded onto your site will be optimized already. You can change any of the settings by simply coming over to the Smush option here, and then just scrolling down the page, change any settings as they might see fit. And by doing this, you really don't have to worry about actually optimizing the images manually anymore. It will do all the hard work for you. Otherwise, you can use other plugins. You can use the auto optimize. If you just search for optimize, it's going to give you lots of different options here, stuff from clearing your cache, so that's like remembered pages. Let's say if I flicked through, I've left some information on pages, do you want to be able to automatically clear that so it doesn't remember every user's interaction for everything? You can get different image optimizers, light speed cache, and you do get lots of choices. So really try and figure out which one the best is for you. For images and lazy loading, really I would use Smush because that is a really excellent option. And then of course you can check for other stuff as well using your plugins. And of course if you're finding that's not doing a good enough job, perhaps consider getting rid of some plugins that you're not using. Every single thing that you have loaded, whether it be a plugin or another feature, will basically have to load up more per page. So let's say for instance I'm visiting just the home page, however I've got an auto optimizer, however I've got loads of other features on there, forums, memberships and all stuff like that. Everything like that has to send a HTML request in and out, and obviously the more requests you have going at one time, the slower the site's going to be. So by having unnecessary plugins that are still trying to make requests although you don't actually need that, that will slow it down. So just make sure to get rid of anything like that just to optimize it further, as long with obviously optimizing the images. And you can also go a step further by connecting it up to Cloudflare, and Cloudflare is a totally free service which you can connect up your site with, so it basically goes through your hosting and Cloudflare to optimize it and also add security. What I'll do in the written section for this part, I'll also leave a link for a video that I made just to be able to connect up to Cloudflare with your site as well.